Okay, think about this for a second. Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, wow, I have my mom's eyes, but definitely my dad's smile? It's one of the biggest questions in biology, right? And believe it or not, the answer was first discovered by a monk, just hanging out in a simple garden. Today, we are cracking the code of heredity.
It really might seem like some kind of magic, but it's all pure science. This whole process of passing traits from one generation to the next is called heredity, and it is the entire reason family resemblances are even a thing.
And this isn't just about us humans. Seriously, from penguins to elephants, it's a fundamental rule for all life on Earth. The science that digs into all the laws and mechanics behind this is called genetics, and honestly, it's one of the most fascinating stories in science. Our story kicks off in a pretty unexpected place, a monastery garden. We're going to follow the work of Gregor Mendel as he solves a puzzle that stumped scientists for centuries. Let's just call it the case of the missing flowers.
So meets our detective, Gregor Mendel. He was super smart and chose to work with pea plants because they have really clear, easy-to-see traits. For this first mystery, he decided to focus on a super simple one, flower color, either purple or white.
Now, to run a good, clean experiment, Mendel knew he needed a clean starting point. So he used what are called pure breeding plants. All this means is that his purple-flowered plants had only ever made other purple flowers for generations. And the same exact thing was true for his white ones. This is our starting line, the parental generation, or P for short. And now the experiment begins. Mendel basically played matchmaker. He carefully took pollen from a pure purple flower and brushed it onto a pure white one. He was in complete control of which plants were breeding. So what do you think happened? What did that next generation of flowers look like?
You might be thinking, maybe a mix, right? Some kind of light purple lavender flowers? Well, nope. Every single one of the baby plants in this first generation, we call it the F1, had purple flowers. The white trait had just vanished. Poof. And the question that would change biology forever was, where did it go?
All right, to solve this mystery, we're going to need a special tool. It's called a Punnett square, and you can basically think of it as a simple little calculator for figuring out the chances of a genetic cross. Let's see how it works. Building one is super easy, I promise. First, you just draw a simple four-square grid. Next, you take the genetic options, the alleles, from one parent, and you put them across the top. Then, you do the same for the other parent, but you put their alleles down the side. And finally, you just fill in the boxes, combining the letters from the top and the side. That's it. Okay, let's use it to solve our mystery. We're going to represent the dominant purple trait with a big P and the recessive white trait with a little p. So our pure breeding purple parent has the code PP, and the white parent is PP. We'll put the purple parent's alleles on top and the white parent's down the side. Now fill it in. And what do you see? Every single possible offspring has the genetic code PP, and since that big P for purple is dominant, they all have purple flowers. Mystery solved. But wait, Mendel didn't stop there. He took these new F1 plants, the ones that all had the PP genetic code, and he crossed them with each other. So what would the next generation, the F2, look like? Would those white flowers stay hidden forever? And here is the big reveal. This time, both parents are P-pup. So we put a big P and a little p on top, and a big P and a little p on the side. When we fill in the squares, we get one PP, two PPs, and look, there it is, one PP. The genetic code for white flowers is back. The trait wasn't gone, it was just hiding. This perfectly explains the famous 3-to-1 ratio Mendel saw. For every 3 purple flowers, there was 1 white one. Amazing! So from these really simple, but let's be honest, brilliant experiments, Mendel came up with the 2 foundational rules of genetics. We now call them Mendel's laws, and they literally changed biology forever. Okay, the first one is the law of dominance. This totally explains our F1 generation, right? It just states that when you have 2 different versions of a gene, one is going to be dominant, it shows up, while the other one, the recessive one, gets hidden. That purple trait totally dominated the white one. The second big rule is the law of segregation, and this explains why those white flowers came back. It says that the 2 copies, or alleles for a trait, have to separate when making offspring, so only one copy gets passed on from each parent.
This is how that hidden little pea from one parent could finally meet up with a hidden little pea from the other, combining to bring back the white flower.
Okay, so now that you get the main ideas, let's learn the official language that scientists use. It'll help lock all this in and make everything even clearer. First up, allele. This is just the sciencey word for the different versions of a single gene. So for that gene that controls flower color, the two alleles were purple and white. Simple as that. Now, these two are absolutely crucial. The genotype is the genetic code itself. You know, the letters, like PP, PP, or PP. The phenotype is the physical trait that you actually see because of that code. So the genotypes PP and PP both give you a purple phenotype. Okay, if an organism has two of the same allele for a trait, we call it homozygous. Just think homo means same. Our original pure breeding parent plants, they were both homozygous. One was homozygous dominant, PP, and the other was homozygous recessive, PP. And you guessed it, if an organism has two different alleles, it's heterozygous. Think hetero means different. All of those plants in the F1 generation were heterozygous. They were all PP. They were hybrids, carrying the genetic info for both purple and white. All right, you've learned a ton. So let's see if it's all sticking. Time for a quick little quiz to test your new genetics knowledge. You ready? Let's do this. Okay, first question. Fill in the blank. The physical appearance of a trait, like the actual purple color you can see on the flowers, is called the... If you said phenotype, you are absolutely correct. The genotype is the letters, the code. The phenotype is the physical result. Nice work. Okay, last one. Ready for a final challenge? What 9-letter word means having two different alleles for a trait, just like our F1 hybrid plants were? The answer is heterozygous. It's pretty incredible to think that these simple rules, figured out in a quiet garden over 150 years ago, are the foundation for everything we know about our own DNA today.